Henry Crawford drove his fist into the Ullion's face. The reptilian alien's skull caved in, green blood spraying over the human's clenched knuckles. Henry knew he needed to warn humanity about the coming invasion, or every last person on Earth would die. Henry was an ex-Navy SEAL who worked security at an interstellar mining company. During a patrol, his scanner had picked up weird energy readings from a cave. He slipped inside, finding a secret Ullian base filled with advanced weapons. Henry overheard their leader Ilara, a 7-foot lizard with glowing eyes and a scarred face, discussing invasion plans. "The humans fight among themselves constantly. Conquering their planet will be simple," Ilara hissed. "Their technology is primitive. They pose no threat." Henry realized the Ullians had been monitoring human communications, but didn't truly understand humanity's potential. He needed to steal their intel and escape to warn Earth. As alarms blared, he grabbed a data drive and sprinted for the exit. Hilara's voice boomed over the intercom. "Capture that human alive. He must not be allowed to interfere with our plans." Henry burst out of the cave into the crimson twilight of Kepler 186F. He had critical information to get to Earth. But first, he had to survive and outwit the Ullian forces hunting him down on this hostile alien world. The fate of humanity itself hung in the balance. Henry's lungs burned as he sprinted across the rocky landscape of Kepler 186F, his boots pounding against the uneven ground. The distant sound of Ullian vehicles echoed behind him, a constant reminder of the relentless pursuit led by Ilara. Henry's Navy SEAL training kicked in as he navigated the treacherous terrain, using the planet's natural features to evade capture. As he crested a hill, a glimmer of hope caught his eye. An abandoned human research outpost, its metal structure standing out against the alien landscape. Henry raced towards the facility, his heart pounding in his chest. Once inside, he barricaded the entrance and began searching for a way to contact Earth. In a dimly lit communications room, Henry found a long-range transmitter. His fingers flew across the controls, desperately trying to establish a connection. After several tense moments, a holographic display flickered to life, revealing the stern face of Admiral Jack Simmons. "This is Admiral Simmons of the United Earth Defense Force. Identify yourself," the 55-year-old veteran demanded, his voice gruff and no-nonsense. "Admiral, this is Henry Crawford. I have critical intel on an imminent Ullian invasion of Earth," Henry replied, his words tumbling out in a rush. He quickly uploaded the contents of the stolen data drive, the proof of the alien threat glowing on the screen. Admiral Simmons's eyes widened as he reviewed the information. "Crawford, if what you're saying is true, we need to act fast. I'll mobilize our forces and prepare for the worst. Keep this channel open. We'll need all the intel you can provide." Just as Henry opened his mouth to respond, an explosion rocked the outpost. Ilara and his troops had tracked him down. Henry cursed under his breath and grabbed his weapon, preparing to defend his position. The Ullians swarmed the outpost, their energy weapons scorching the walls. Henry used the facility's defenses to his advantage, picking off the alien soldiers one by one. The firefight was intense, with Henry's skills put to the ultimate test. Amidst the chaos, Henry spotted Ilara's personal spacecraft hovering nearby. Seizing the opportunity, he aimed his weapon at the ship's engines and fired, the blast critically damaging the craft. Ilara let out a furious roar as he was forced to retreat, his ship limping away from the outpost. But the victory was short-lived. A searing pain tore through Henry's shoulder as an Ullian energy bolt found its mark. He stumbled back, his vision blurring. The communication link with Earth flickered and died, leaving him alone and wounded on the hostile alien world. Outside, Ilara's voice boomed over the outpost speakers. "Raise this human filth to the ground. Leave no trace of his presence." The Ullian troops redoubled their efforts, their weapons tearing into the outpost structure. Henry gritted his teeth, the pain from his wound mixing with the bitter realization of his dire situation. Cut off from Earth and facing an overwhelming enemy force, he knew he had to find a way to survive and warn humanity of the impending danger. The odds were stacked against him, but Henry was determined to fight until his last breath. The fate of Earth depended on it. Henry dragged himself into a hidden cave system, his shoulder screaming with every movement. The outpost laid in ruins behind him, smouldering from the Ulian assault. Henry ripped off part of his shirt, wadding it up and shoving it against the energy bolt wound. He collapsed against the cave wall, letting out a ragged breath. Henry knew he couldn't stay still for long. Ilara would be searching for him, eager to finish what he started. Henry pushed himself up, ignoring the pain, and ventured deeper into the caves. As he explored the winding passages, Henry stumbled upon an old damaged long-range scout ship. A spark of hope ignited in his chest. If he could repair the ship, he might have a chance to escape Kepler 186F and warn Earth. Henry set to work, using his survival skills to fashion tools from the outpost's wreckage. He spent hours salvaging parts, his hands shaking from exhaustion and blood loss. But he refused to give up. The fate of humanity rested on his shoulders. Back on Earth, Admiral Simmons pored over the data from the stolen Ulian drive. The information was a goldmine, revealing the location of the Ulian's main invasion fleet. Simmons knew they had to act fast. He summoned Captain Jake Raven Blackwood, the leader of the UEDF's elite Black Ops team. At 30 years old, Raven was known for his unorthodox tactics and reckless behavior, but he got results. "Captain, I need your team to infiltrate the Ulian fleet," Simmons said, his voice grave. "Use whatever means necessary to gather intel and sabotage their ships. We're launching a preemptive strike." Raven grinned, his eyes glinting with anticipation. "Consider it done, Admiral. Those lizards won't know what hit them." As Raven and his team prepared for their mission, Henry worked feverishly on the scout ship. He was so focused on the repairs that he didn't hear the approaching footsteps until it was too late. Ilara and his forces had discovered Henry's hiding place. The Ulian leader's eyes burned with rage as he spotted the human. "You've caused me enough trouble, human filth," Ilara snarled. "This ends now." Henry dove for cover as energy bolts sizzled through the air. He used the cave system's natural defenses to his advantage, leading the Ulians into narrow passages and dead ends. But Ilara was relentless, his troops slowly closing in. Just as Ilara was about to overpower Henry, the human managed to activate the repaired scout ship. The engines roared to life, and Henry leaped into the cockpit. Energy bolts pinged off the hull as he punched the thrusters, sending the ship rocketing out of the caves and into the sky. Henry set a course for the nearest UEDF outpost, his heart pounding with a mixture of relief and dread. He had escaped Ilara, but the battle was far from over. On the Ulian invasion fleet, Raven and his team had successfully infiltrated the ships using advanced stealth technology. They moved like ghosts, sabotaging key systems and gathering crucial intelligence. But their luck ran out when Ulian security forces discovered them. Ilara, informed of the sabotage and the capture of the human operatives, let out a roar of fury. He ordered the fleet to begin the invasion of Earth ahead of schedule, determined to crush the humans once and for all. As the Ulian ships surged towards Earth, the UEDF scrambled to accelerate their defense plans. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and time was running out. As Henry's stolen Ulian scout ship raced through the void of space, the crackle of intercepted enemy comms filled the cockpit. The words that poured from the speakers turned Henry's blood to ice. Raven and his team had been captured during their sabotage mission. Henry's fingers flew over the controls as he altered course, his eyes narrowed with fierce determination. He had to infiltrate the Ulian fleet and rescue the Black Ops team. The fate of Earth depended on it. Using knowledge gleaned from the stolen data drive, Henry adjusted the ship's signature to mimic Ulian technology. He then donned the armor of a fallen Ulian soldier, his disgust at wearing the enemy's skin tempered by grim necessity. As Henry's ship approached Ilara's command vessel, he transmitted falsified codes procured from the drive. Ulian fighters escorted him into the docking bay, unaware of the human wolf in their midst. Henry emerged from his ship to a hangar bustling with activity. Ulian soldiers barked orders as they loaded weapons and prepared for the invasion of Earth. Keeping his head down, Henry moved through the organized chaos, his eyes scanning for any sign of Raven's team. Back on Earth, the planet's defenses fought valiantly against the Ulian onslaught. Bolstered by Henry and Raven's intel, human forces held fast against the alien tide. Yet, even with foreknowledge and preparation, the Ulians' superior technology and numbers began to overwhelm Earth's defenders. Cities burned, soldiers fell, skies darkened with enemy ships. The Ulian war machine advanced inexorably, crushing resistance with brutal efficiency. Only a miracle could turn the tide. Deep within Ilara's ship, Henry's miracle took the form of a battered human face glimpsed through a cell door's small window. Raven. Henry's heart pounded as he examined the cell's locking mechanism. His fingers danced across the alien controls, and with a hiss of released pressure the door slid open. Raven and his team stumbled out, their faces haggard but eyes alight with renewed hope. Henry tossed them Ulian weapons pillaged from the armory. No words were needed. The humans knew what had to be done. As alarms blared and Ulian soldiers converged on their position, Henry and Raven fought side by side. They carved a path of destruction through the ship, planting explosives at critical junctures. The Ulian vessel shuddered as systems overloaded and power cores ruptured. Deeper and deeper they pushed into the heart of the ship, until at last they reached the bridge. There, standing before a viewport alive with the fire of Earth's beleaguered defenses, was Ilara. The Ulian leader turned, his eyes burning with ancient hatred. He lunged at Henry, claws extended. Henry met the charge head-on, human flesh against alien hide, skill against brute strength, the fate of two worlds in the balance. They traded blows in a whirlwind of violence, Ilara's claws raking Henry's armor, Henry's fist slamming into Ilara's scaled flesh. The Ulian was strong, monstrously so, but Henry's spirit was unbreakable. For Earth, for humanity. He would not fail. As Henry and Ilara grappled in mortal combat, Raven and his team seized control of the bridge. They overrode security protocols and opened the hangar bay doors. Then, with whoops of savage joy, the Black Ops team hijacked Ulian fighters and soared into the void to join the battle for Earth. Henry, locked in a death grip with Ilara, saw his opening. With a final desperate effort, he slammed the Ulian leader's head against a control panel. Ilara went limp, dazed. Henry's fingers flew over the now cracked screens, overriding the navigation systems. He set a collision course for the Ulian flagship, the pulsing heart of the invasion fleet. Warning klaxons blared. A calm alien voice announced the imminent destruction of the ship. Henry hauled Ilara's semi-conscious form over his shoulder and sprinted for the hangar bay. Raven and his team, having blasted a path through the Ulian fleet, swooped in for the pickup. They barely made it out before Ilara's ship slammed into the flagship in a blinding flash of light. The flagship broke apart, belching flame and debris. The Ulian fleet, thrown into disarray by the loss of its command structure, faltered. And in that moment, Earth struck. Human ships surged forward, renewed hope fueling their weapons. The Ulians, their perfect order shattered, their leadership in ruins, fell back before the onslaught. The tide had turned. But Henry knew, even as he watched the Ulian fleet scatter and burn, that this was only the beginning. Ilara, now a prisoner, would have his vengeance. The Ulians would return, and Earth had to be ready. With the Ulian command ship destroyed and their fleet in chaos, the tide of battle turned. Earth's forces surged forward, blasting through the disoriented Ulian defenses. Henry and Raven led the charge, their ships darting through the wreckage-strewn battlefield. "Push them back," Henry barked over the comms. "Don't give them an inch." The human fleet pressed the attack, targeting the Ulians' weakened flanks. Ulian ships exploded under the onslaught, their hulls shattering and spilling debris into the void. But Ilara refused to accept defeat. From the bridge of his battered flagship, he rallied his remaining forces. "All ships, converge on the humans. Crush them." The Ulian fleet reformed, a desperate snarling beast backed into a corner. They threw themselves at Earth's defenses in a final all-out assault. Henry saw the flagship, saw Ilara's ship at its heart. A cold, focused rage filled him. He angled his ship towards his nemesis. "Raven, with me. We're ending this." "Right behind you," Raven growled. They plunged into the heart of the Ullian formation, autocannons blazing, missiles screaming from their launch tubes. Ullian ships shattered under their guns, but still more came, a seemingly endless tide. And there, amidst the chaos and the fire, was Ilara's ship. Henry locked on, his targeting reticle flashing red. "You're mine," he snarled. The two ships clashed like ancient warriors, energy beams and missiles crisscrossing the gulf between them. They spun and dove through the battle's wreckage, each seeking the killing blow. Henry gritted his teeth, G-forces slamming him into his seat as he threw his ship into a dizzying roll. Ilara matched him, move for move, a master combatant in his own right. But Henry had something Ilara did not, a human's indomitable will. With a final, wrenching maneuver, Henry lined up the perfect shot, his finger tightened on the trigger, and Ilara rammed him. The Ullian ship, trailing fire and debris, slammed into Henry's with a sickening crunch of metal on metal. Warning alarms screamed in Henry's ears as the two ships, locked in a deadly embrace, plunged towards Earth. "Henry!" Raven's voice crackled over the comms. "Eject! Get out of there!" But it was too late. The ships, wreathed in flames, streaked through the atmosphere. On the ground, Raven and his team watched in mute horror as the fiery wreckage carved a brilliant, terrible path across the sky. The Ullian invasion was broken. Earth had won. But the cost was high. The cost was Henry Crawford. In the battle's aftermath, Earth began to rebuild. The Ullian remnants were hunted down, their ships scattered to the far reaches of the galaxy. Memorials were raised to the fallen, to the heroes who had given their lives in defense of their home. Henry Crawford's name was etched upon everyone, a testament to his sacrifice, to his unwavering courage in the face of annihilation. But even as Earth celebrated, even as it mourned, a new threat stirred in the shadows. Zorik, Ilara's most trusted lieutenant, had survived, and with him a hidden cell of Ullian operatives buried deep within Earth's population. They watched, they waited, and they planned their revenge. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.